In this video, I'll give you some of the best, most optimal Fortnite keybinds possible. If you recently got a PC and are new to keyboard and mouse, you may want to know what the best binds for building, editing, and aiming are. So, I'll try my best to help. Instead of simply telling you to use a certain keybind, I'll tell you the reason behind why I'm recommending it to you and why I think you should use it. Also, here's a short disclaimer before I start. Keep in mind that you can also change my keybinds to your liking. For example, if you edit better with F than you do with E, most certainly feel free to change it. Please don't think that you have to use exactly the keybinds that I use. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. First, we have default movement binds. These aren't too important because they are the standard movement binds used in pretty much any game. For my jump bind, I have it bound to the space bar as I can press this with my thumb. Auto run doesn't matter too much to me as I almost never use it, so I have it randomly bound to 7. But you can bind it to whatever you want. On the other hand, I use crouch very frequently, so I have it bound to caps lock, which is very close to A and is really easy to reach with my pinky. To shoot, I use my left mouse button, and to aim down sights, I use my right mouse button. To reload my guns, I use R, and I use scroll wheel up as my interact button. I have this as my interact key because it really helps in off-spawn fights when you're trying to quickly pick up a gun before your opponent. This is because scrolling up is quicker than pressing a button on your keyboard. My pickaxe is bound to 1 instead of F so that I can use F for double edit binds, which I'll touch on later in the video. Then, all my weapon slot binds have been shifted up by 1, meaning I'll have to click 2 to reach my first gun, and so on. I have wall bound to Z, floor bound to C, stairs bound to X, and the roof, which is also known as the cone bound to V. I have the floor and the cone binds close to each other so that I can quickly swap between the two when I'm building boxes with cones. I also have the wall and stair bounded close to each other so that I can 90 easier. Then I have my trap bound to B so that I can quickly place down a launch pad in the middle of a fight or whilst I'm rotating. To repair a building, I have it randomly bound to H because I almost never use this in an actual fight. Rotate building is bound to R because it's close to my movement binds and because I also use it a lot. This is especially the case when I'm doing a waterfall to get off height. My change building material is bound to the right mouse button because I can quickly press that. This is useful when I'm getting sprayed very hard or when I'm in an endgame fight. My edit bind is E because it's really close to my building and main movement bind. I know lots of pros use F to edit, so you can use F if you want. For my secondary button for selecting a building edit, I use F. This is because I can quickly swap between E and F. But I only do this, I'm trying to make a build invisible in a creative match or something like that. But this isn't too important, and you don't really have to copy this bind if you don't want to. One of the most important binds on the entire list is reset building edit. For this one, I highly recommend you use mouse wheel up. If you take away anything from this video, then take away this one tip. Use scroll wheel up to reset builds. This allows you to quickly reset a build after taking a peek shot or after you edit something by accident. To ping, I use G since it's relatively close to my movement binds. There are many times when you need to quickly ping your landing spot so your teammate knows where you're going, or when you quickly need to tell your friend that you see an enemy. I don't use push to talk, but if you use it a lot, then feel free to set it to any easy to reach bind. Most of the remaining options aren't really too important, except for two major ones. This includes toggle map and toggle inventory. For toggle map, I use shift since the default bind is, in my very humble opinion, way too far away from the main binds you're going to use while you play a game. This is the same story with the I button, it's way too far away from your main binds. You probably use these two very frequently in a match, whether you're trying to find the quickest way to zone or just properly arrange your inventory. So that's why I have it bound to shift and tab. Last but not least, there are a few vehicle options that you can change if you want to. I don't really care too much for these since most of these vehicles aren't even in the game anymore. But if there's a certain vehicle, like a car, that you frequently use, then you can change some of those binds here if you want to. Besides that, there's really nothing else I want to highlight. I hope this video was helpful. If you found it to be helpful and you like my keybinds, consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to my channel. Bye bye.